On this episode of Unscripted History, we will be talking about the Civil War. Check it out. You're watching Unscripted History, the same stories told in a new way.
What's up, guys? This is Jake and Corda from Unscripted History. Yesterday we had a great talk about ISIS and how it's affecting our country right now.
That's right, but today we're going to be talking about some of the major battles and strategies used during the Civil War.
Well, let's get right into it. First of all, let's start with the first battle of the war, which was the Battle of Fort Sumter, which took place in South Carolina on April 12th through 14th, 1861.
Now, this battle was just like any other battle during the war. It was between the North and the South. The Union forces were led by Major Robert Anderson, and the Confederates were led by General P.G.T. Beauregard. He, along with advice from President Davis of the Confederate States, demanded that the American troops leave Fort Sumter.
However, when Anderson refused, there was an outbreak and the South attacked the fort. The South surrounded the fort with their navy and began to bombard the fort.
The Union was outnumbered, outsupplied, and heavily surrounded. The battle resulted in a surrender by the Union, but it marked the beginning of the Civil War.
At this point, the Confederates started dominating the war. The majority of the battles were fought in the southern states. It was like their home turf. They had the advantage of knowing the land.
The South continued to their victory reign up until the Battle of Gettysburg.
The Battle of Gettysburg took place in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania from July 1st to 3rd in 1863. It was 3 days of harsh fighting between both sides.
It was between the Union commanders George Meade and John Reynolds and Confederate commander Robert E. Lee. On the first day, Meade's forces held their sight until reinforcements arrived.
The second day brought Confederate forces to the front lines of the Union. The Union struggled to defend their line.
On the third and final day, the Confederates hit the Union with a three-direction flank, and the Confederates were forced to back out the next day due to heavy casualties.
This was a turning point for the Union in the war. They started to gain control and win more battles. The North had better resources, troops, and transportation.
The final quote-unquote battle we will discuss will be the Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. It was a meeting between the North and the South.
Ulysses S. Grant represented the North, and the Confederates were represented by Robert E. Lee. This was a decisive victory for the Union on April 9th, 1865.
It led to the surrender of the Confederate Army and the end of the Civil War thereafter. All in all, the Civil War affected not only the soldiers who died, were injured, or simply fought in the many battles, but it also affected the families of the soldiers.
Many families in the South had destroyed homes and or land because the battles were fought on their land.
Other families were even split in half. One son may have gone and fought for the North, while the other for the South.
Also, the loss of a loved one from battle is never easy. War is a terrible thing.
But it is sometimes necessary to end conflicts.
Thank you for tuning into Unscripted History.
This has been Corda
and Jake. We'll see you guys next time.